Before I start, is it showing that it's recording? Can you give me a thumbs up?
Yeah, it's recording.
Thank you. Okay, again, I'm sorry for the delay, but the time now is 5:10, and I would like to officially start our meeting. My name is Ayabami Bell Torrance, and I am the outreach manager for DDOT. And I'm going to get into our introductions. I'm going to start with our interim director.
Let me try unmuting myself. Thank you, Ms. Torrance. Michael Staley, Interim Executive Director, Detroit Department of Transportation. I will hand it off to Ms. Hood.
Good evening. I'm Michael Hood, Chief of Staff with DDOT. I will hand it off to Ms. Whitfield.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jenny Whitfield, the new Deputy Director of Administration for DDOT.
Would you like to pass it off to someone?
Popcorn to Mr. Holmes.
Corey Holmes, Chief Safety Officer with DDOT.
I'm Ricky Amaker. I'm the Capital Projects Manager here at DDOT, and I'll hand it to Mr. Patrick.
Steve Patrick, Executive Manager, Service Development and Scheduling here at DDOT.
Good evening, everyone. Nick Cardone, Assistant Director of Maintenance, DDOT.
Good evening, everyone. Gio Joy, Maintenance Manager at DDOT, handing it over to David.
Good evening, David Gold, Maintenance Manager at DDOT as well. Handing it over to Mr. Tiller.
Good afternoon, Larry Tiller, Superintendent Operations, DDOT. Mr. Mallett.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andre Mallett, Assistant Director of Operations here at DDOT, and I'll hand it over to Mr. Rambis.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sharon Rambis. I'm Regulatory Compliance Officer, ADA Coordinator for DDOT, and I'll pass it over to Ms. Davis.
Good afternoon, Stephanie Davis, Government Affairs Liaison for DDOT. I will pass it to Chief.
Good evening, everyone. Chief Rick Brown, Transit Police for only a week and a couple of days. And I do believe we have some representatives from DPD on the call who will be taking over the safety security for DDOT. So I will pass it. I do believe I did see Deputy Chief Arnold Williams on, if you want to introduce yourself and any other members of DPD.
Good evening. I'm Deputy Chief Arnold Williams. I'm over Eastern Operations and Metropolitan Division. The new transit unit that we've developed at DPD will fall under me, and it will fall specifically under Metropolitan Division. To that effect, should have some representatives from Metropolitan Division on here as well. Commander Severy and soon-to-be Captain Dunbar, as well as Lieutenant Nzinga. Lieutenant Nzinga will be the officer in charge of the actual transit unit. So those are the three individuals who will be taking a really direct command and control over the new transit unit at DPD.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. And Jordan Bonney.
Director Staley, he might not be able to speak up. He said he was on the bus, but I did see his name go by.
Okay, I just want to give him an opportunity if he could. I think that's everybody from DDOT, I believe.
Ms. Roby.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, no worries, Director. My name is Tanisha Roby. Yes, I'll pop in. My name is Tanisha Roby. I am the Assistant Director of Administration.
And I do believe I saw Mr. Garrett from Paratransit.
Sorry, DeMarcus Garrett, Contract Manager, DDOT Paratransit.
I believe that's everyone.
Okay, I just didn't want to leave anyone out as well. Okay, we will get into our time now for our meeting rules. The public comment, of course, will take place after today's presentation. You'll be limited to 2 minutes, and please respect that time, or you will be muted for going over. And of course, if time allows, we will have another opportunity to speak. And as always, please, no personal attacks or foul language will be tolerated. That's verbally or in the chat. And we will begin our presentation. I might have to do it. Can you hear me?
We just heard you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, now we don't hear anybody talking.
Kristen will be my backup tonight. If it goes out again, like I said, I think in my area, it must be the storm, but we'll give it a try.
We can hear you from the timer if you
And
just
then
want to
we'll
go from there.
So before asking a question or commenting, please be sure to unmute your audio, state your name and organization, and following your comments, please mute your audio. A few reminders.
Hey, Kristen, it sounds like she's going out again.
Christian, go ahead with the next, you can go ahead and read the next one. I'm gonna readjust my screen.
Okay, sure. A few reminders. By participating in the Zoom meeting, you are granting permission for your name, image, likeness, and audio and video recording to be used by DDOT. Raise your hand to request to make a comment. If you're using the dial-in only phone option, you can enter *9 to serve as the raise hand feature to request to speak or to ask a question. And during the public comment period, the chat will be open. You can submit questions and comments to DDOT staff there. Can you take over with the service enhancements?
Sounds like she's still having technical difficulties.
Let me give us 1 second.
Yeah, if you want me to present the slides, I can. That's up to you.
That would be wonderful, Steve.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
So, Steve Patrick, Service Development and Scheduling. So, this right here is just a side-by-side summary of the January service enhancements that we did and the ones that are coming up in June, which are effective next Monday. So, it's just there's a table here. You see the column for the January pick and the June pick, and there's three different symbols here. The little lightning bolt is a frequency increase, making the bus run more often during a period of the day or an entire day. And then the double-sided arrow is span improvement, meaning we added earlier and later trips. And the plus sign is a supplemental trip, which means just extra trips that we add to the schedule without changing the frequency. So if you go to the next slide, we'll have some greater detail here. So here in January, what we did, as most of you recall, we improved the 9 Jefferson to be a BRT pilot frequency route. So we gave it 30-minute weekend service and 10-minute weekday service. Excuse me, the weekend improved from 30 to 15, and the weekday daytime frequency improved from 15 to 10 minutes. And we improved the Dexter to 20 minutes, and we started the 45-minute headways at the beginning of service on the Fenkel bus instead of starting them hourly. And then the peak supplemental trips we added on these 8 routes over here. So that's what we did in January. And next slide, please. Service enhancements for June. Okay, so we increased the peak vehicles on the street up to 168 in the morning, 178 in the afternoon. This is for next week's improvements. And we did more frequency increases and span improvements and supplemental trips. If you go to the next slide, we have more detail here. So these are the changes that start next week. We're introducing a 15-minute peak frequency on Grand River, 7 Mile, and Greenfield, and 20-minute peak frequency on Warren and Evergreen. Next slide, please. And on a whole bunch of these hourly routes, it's like there's 12 of them, we are improving the peak frequency from 60 minutes to 45 just during weekday peak hours. And then the span improvements, earlier related trips added on the Hamilton John R in the Mid-City Loop. So I think that's the last slide. Nope, another slide here. 30-minute service starting earlier in the morning on the Mac, and daytime frequency improving from 60 to 50 minutes all week long in the daytime on the Joy route, and supplemental trips on the Puritan route during peak periods. And I think that's the last slide we have. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I almost forgot Jason Hargrove. Okay, so we will be adjusting the timetables for the new Jason Hargrove Transit Center routes that serve that center to make the new run times reflect the new travel times between the time points. So since we've had those routes in there for a while and we couldn't change them in May because it was not a pick for the operators, we're changing them this Monday. And now I'm pretty sure that's the last slide. Okay.
I think so. Nope, just kidding.
Oh, okay. And there's a picture. Okay. The picture of the Jason Hargrove. Okay. So one more slide. So these are the routes that serve Jason Hargrove, and just a little information about it. And and hopefully that's working out well for everyone. I'm sure we'll get to make some comments on that later on today. All right, that's all we've got now.
And I'm just going to read this just in case anybody needs the audio, that the Jason Hargrove Transit Center is located at 1121 West 8 Mile, open 24 hours. It is patrolled by DPD, and the cashier office numbers are 313-833-9705 or 313-833-9715. Okay. Ayobami, how are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I said everything was fine doing our run-throughs, and I think the wind, but I'm gonna try this. We'll see. If not, just thank you for covering again. I apologize, but yes, we're happy to announce we had a TDO graduation. Of course, that's our operators. This morning, there were 35 new operators. So congratulations to all of them. And that's one of the reasons that, we've been able to make all these great enhancements that we're getting these new drivers in. It's great to see. And we do have some DDOT rider alerts. It may just be a delay, so you can go. Starting with the Detroit fireworks, and this is all new information, so it will be on our website soon, but these are the reroutes that we wanted to share with you tonight. The 3 Grand River, northbound and southbound will be affected. The 4 Woodward, northbound and southbound. The 5 Van Dyke Lafayette, eastbound and westbound, and the 6 Gratiot, northbound and southbound, as well as advance. Okay, here we go. And the 12 Conant, southbound only. The 16 Dexter, the northbound and southbound. I think this may be a repeat with the 5 Van Dyke Lafayette, excuse us, eastbound and westbound, and then the 52 Shane, eastbound, westbound. And again, that was all new information. It will be pretty similar to like we did the NFL draft, but that information will be on the website soon. And then if you, this information is on our website right now, letting you know that now through Friday, July 5th, work will be taking place at eastbound Northland routes impacted, and that includes the 10 Greenfield, that's southbound only, the 16 Dexter, that's also southbound only, and the 17 8 Mile, which is eastbound only. Moving on to the local advisory council recruitment. This is a reminder, we mentioned it last month, but they are still actively recruiting. So the Detroit Department of Transportation is recruiting members for its local advisory council. You can consider applying if you're interested or know someone who would be a valuable addition. There is a QR code on the screen, but of course this information is on the website.
Sorry, let me go back.
Okay.
Just in case anybody wants to scan the QR code.
Exactly. Okay, and then it looks like it jumped to DDOT in the community, which of course we are working to get out more, and you'll see us more at events. Special thanks to the District 3 Council member, Scott Benson. He hosted a Courage Gold luncheon last week, and we were at that event and got a chance to talk to a lot of great people who will be passing on the word. And also, of course, Juneteenth was yesterday, but we attended Friday's City of Detroit's Juneteenth event, and that was another great event where we got a chance to talk to a lot of riders that one particularly I'm talking to had great things to say. So that was great to hear and to pass along. We hope to hear more positive information from our passengers. And we thank everyone for riding. And speaking of positive feedback, here's a clip from one of our social media messages. Just a shout out saying thanks for keeping us moving. Thank you for keeping me moving, DDOT. So again, DDOT values all feedback, but we would love to hear more about the positive things that you have to say about us. Please feel free to leave your comments on our social media or email us, and we hope to share more next month. So keep it coming. And our next upcoming meeting will take place in July. The screen, that's the 18th at 5 p.m. So we'll see you then. And that is all the updates that I have at this time. Continue to follow us on our website for the latest information, social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That's at Ride DDOT. And it looks like I'll be turning it right back over to my colleague, Kristen. So just give us a moment. I'm gonna see how this timer goes.
Ms. Torrance, this is Chief Brown. Before you do that.
Okay.
I think Deputy Chief Williams's staff or members of the transit team are online now, and I would like to give them
That would be-
opportunity to introduce
That
themselves.
would be great. And if we didn't pull everybody over, they can certainly unmute at this time and we should be able to see them because I think we wasn't sure who everyone was and was trying to move over. So thank you.
We can start with Commander Severy.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm using a setup I haven't used before and my Wi-Fi is a little shoddy, but my name is Ian Severy. I'm the commander of Detroit Police Department's Metropolitan Division, and I'm excited to take on this task.
Thank you. We can hear you loud and clear.
And I believe Lieutenant Nzinga Moore is also on.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. I'm Nzinga Moore. I'm at Metro Division as well. I'm the officer in charge of the Transit Division. I'm looking forward to working with everyone, getting to know everyone and serving the community. Thank you.
We have Captain Dunbar, or soon to be Captain Dunbar, on as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. Acting Captain Cedric Dunbar, assigned to the Metropolitan Division. I like to echo what everybody else said. I'm excited to be here, excited for this opportunity. I spent a lot of time on the DDOT as a kid, so looking forward to it.
That's it for the DPD leadership for the transit unit.
Thanks again. Hey, Christian, are you ready? I'm gonna share my screen this time.
Let's see. I am ready to, yes. With our commenters, are you ready with the timer?
Yeah. Do you see it on this? Is it showing?
It is a black screen, but it was going a minute ago.
That's it.
Okay.
It should be.
Great.
So we're good.
Then our first hand up is a phone number ending in 618. Let's see. Is 618 able to comment? Okay, we'll keep it moving. Is phone number ending in 169 available to comment?
Hello.
Okay, we hear somebody. Go
Everybody
ahead.
hear me? Okay.
Hey, hello. How y'all
I'm happy to
doing
be a
today?
part of the virtual meeting. I was recommended by Cunningham. He came by my house and actually helped me to Zoom to get this call in. And I'm happy to be a part of this meeting. Now, concerning the transit, it seems like a couple buses are slow. I take the Wyoming bus and I take the McNichols bus, and they run every hour. It seems like they would be every half an hour, and especially on the Wyoming, because it's like 3 schools in between on the Wyoming route. And another thing, it seemed like it would be free for senior citizens and children. Other than that, I think they're fine. Just the routes could be faster. And I think that the service will be free for senior citizens and children. The Q line is free. The People Mover is free. Why isn't it free in the city? Thank you.
I can answer some of those points here, if you like. First of all, the McNichols runs every 30 minutes on weekdays, and on the Wyoming, we're introducing 45-minute peak service, but it is in the reimagined plan. The Wyoming is designated for 30-minute service, so we are working on making it more frequent. And as far as the fares go, the seniors and the students have a discount fare that's equivalent to 50 cents. And what you mentioned with the queue line and the people mover, those are not DDOT, and they have separate money that pays for those programs. So, you know, they have, and so I think I'm not sure if whose money that is, but I think, but anyway, yeah, if DDOT is able to, we have a low income fare study that is in process. So that is a possibility. It comes up at almost every one of these meetings about having a low income fare and or making it free. But one thing we cannot do is we cannot cut our service to lower the fare. We don't want to do that. We want to improve the service. So so if there is a lower fare, the money would have to come from a designated place. Yeah.
If I can piggyback, this is Michael Staley. If I can piggyback on what Mr. Patrick just mentioned, two things. Number one, we're finalizing the DDOT Reimagine plan. During the preliminary phases of DDOT Reimagine, it was estimated that low fare would represent about a $4 million shortfall in operating revenue for DDOT. No fare, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 9 million. We're doing a revision on that just to see if those numbers are still in the same ballpark. Our emphasis right now, and again, as Mr. Patrick said, at every one of the community input meetings, at innumerable city council meetings as well, we're asked about why aren't you going the route of the people mover and queue line? Right now, our focus is on restoring service to pre-COVID levels, and losing $4 to $9 million in revenue would be counterproductive to that end.
Thank you. Phone number ending in 169. Are you still there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead with your comment. Thank you.
Okay, how y'all doing today? My name is Rick. I'm 38 years old. I live in the Palmer Park, Highland Park area. I am a voter. Cunningham gave me another flyer so that I could call in. I just wanted to say that Detroit Department of Transportation still has issues. Buses need to be cleaner. Buses on time, and drivers need to be courteous towards the passengers. Something needs to be done about the rude and the disrespectful passengers, because all they do is argue back and forth with the drivers, and that causes the bus to be held up. So people have, and that's all.
If I may, the Corey Holmes, Chief Safety Officer with DDOT. Sir, to your point, we are revisiting a lot of the retraining for our drivers, and one of the issues is certainly customer service. So just bear with us. I can assure you that behavior will be changing.
And again, this is Michael Staley. If I can piggyback on what Mr. Holmes just said, on the flip side of that, we hope to be presenting in the not too distant future, either at the July community input meeting or the one after that. We are in the process of finalizing a passenger code of conduct as well. So we want to present that to the community at large to be able to get feedback on a passenger code of conduct.
Thank you. Stephen Howring, you're next.
Okay, can I be heard?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, perfect. So I just want to first say the Jefferson, the 10-minute frequency has been great. I mean, it's probably like one of the few efficient DDOT routes. And, I was happy to hear you finally getting Grand River to 15 minutes, but do you have plans in the future of doing any like similar to Jefferson? Because it's badly needed on Michigan, of course, Grand River, and even Woodward, for example, even though Woodward has the options of the fast and the queue line. So, I just really hope you kind of can really do that on more major corridors and, eventually, maybe do some type of actual BRT features such as, the bus lanes, the boarding, and, I think that would be really helpful. But overall, I'm very happy with the Jefferson, and, lastly, regarding low income fare, I'm just pretty much gonna say what the DDOT leadership said is kind of the reason why I'm opposed to it as of now. But overall, what is the current update on DDOT Reimagine, and what type of fund are you planning on using? The additional funds from the city or funds from the bipartisan infrastructure? I'm curious about that. So, and overall also, how is the bus driver? You didn't really go into how much driver short you are now, if you're in any more or any less than last time we talked.
Ms. Lukowski, if I can take a couple of those, and I'm going to hand off the one question to Mr. Yamakura. So as it relates to DDOT Reimagine, our approach has been, as I mentioned earlier, finalizing the plan, including latest cost estimates and also an implementation plan. But all of the service enhancements that have taken place since January, including the ones that are scheduled to take place next Monday, are all consistent with the service enhancements in the early stages envisioned by DDOT Reimagine. As it relates to the transit equipment operator headcount, the latest number, and it has been steadily increasing. For those of you that were around on the community input meeting back in October, we were about at 350 total TEOs. We are now at 507 total TEOs. 480 of those are active, and we are on track right now. As we had discussed in earlier community input meetings on the service restoration plan, we are tracking on the TEO headcount to be able to stay current with the service restoration plan. Mr. Yamakura, if you can talk a little bit about the next stage of BRT on East Jefferson as it relates to passenger amenities.
Sure. So thank you, Mr. Staley. So in response to the question about the amenities, we are looking for a installation of amenities by the end of this year. And we are in the process right now. And kind of to speak to the question about how this is going to be implemented on other routes along in the city is, transparently, we're learning a lot about navigating the different stakeholders that go into installing a set of amenities such as this. When it comes to right of way, when it comes to private property, when it comes to working with property owners, in terms of navigating all the different ways that comes together. We have a lot of good learnings that are coming from that. We will be looking at those learnings and implementing further different types of amenities, as well as what routes we're going to utilize from those. So we are looking for the amenities to be installed by the end of this year, where we have a really concerted, urgent effort on making sure those amenities are going to work. And we are in the process of gaining materials and moving those into an implementation phase coming up in the next few months.
And again, Michael Staley, as Mr. Yamakura mentioned, we are actively looking at the next pilot project for BRT.
Oh, that's exciting.
Thank you. And the next hand up is Mr. Verse.
Okay. Have you heard?
A little
Hello?
shaky. Yep, we can. That's better. Thank you. Go ahead.
That's better. Okay. Good evening. My name is Larry Donald Burst, primarily I'm with Detroit's People's Platform. I'm also a member of Voices of Public Transit. And I agree that DDOT has come a long ways from when I first started back writing. And I am thankful for the improvements. And I know it takes time and a lot of work, and it gets complicated, especially when you continuously financially get the short end of the stick. Okay, that being said, however, I do have some points that I'd like to cover. Primarily, one has to do with the ADA community, their rides. And yes, I'm still talking about prices. I think they are extremely high and it's utterly ridiculous. And I would like to know if there is consideration and when it might happen, if DDOT would take it in-house and the actual drivers would be DDOT employees and under DDOT supervision. So the price could be reduced. Thank you. I'm going to leave it at that. I'll save my other questions till later.
If I can comment on that briefly, again, this is Michael Staley. There was when we were transitioning paratransit from a completely subcontracted service to a hybrid model where DDOT would undertake the essential operational functions of reservation, scheduling, dispatching, eligibility certification, and customer service, both the intake and the output of customer complaints. There had been a document that was circulated publicly that estimated that in order to take it in-house, the purchase price of 100 vehicles, approximately, setting up a separate operations and maintenance facility for those vehicles, that at that point in time, it was considered cost prohibitive. And I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, the estimates on that were somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 to $30 million, which is in excess of what we're currently paying for paratransit services, because primarily the service providers provide the vehicles and are responsible for driver labor and benefits. So right now, I know some folks, including Mr. Verse, would like to see us bring it in-house completely, but we think we got a really good model. And the first year results of the system would seem to bear that out, where we came in above 97% on-time performance. Less than 1% of the trips that we performed generated a complaint. Even though we did have accidents and injuries, it was less than the year before. And we'll continue to try to drive down that number. So I appreciate the question about the ADA service.
Thank you, Mr. Verse. Renard, yours is the next hand up.
Hi, good evening. Can I be heard?
Yep, go right ahead.
For the record, my name is Renard Rashensky. I'm an organizer with Detroit People's Platform, and I'm, of course, a long-term resident with the city of Detroit, currently residing in District 6. First of all, I just want to commend DDOT for its improved service on some of the routes that I personally use. I can't speak for everyone else. And I'm seeing the announcements of the new drivers graduating, and that's extremely encouraging as they get into our system and get to provide more frequency and rides. I also want to echo questions about the status of the DDOT Reimagined and request that when some project related to DDOT Reimagined comes online, that you brand it as such and announce it. Otherwise, it just seems like you created this plan and then there's no follow-up with it as well, too. It's just nice words on a piece of paper. But a plan is a good plan when it's actually executed and updated on. You guys are really good with being transparent with, I know, the paratransit data, and trying to put fixed line data up, but we would like to know what is the current on-time status for the fixed line buses as well, and that should be in their regular reports. Also, with the ARPA dollars, it's still kind of mysterious, like how is it being used? We're going into 2025. There's an election year. worried about federal funding might be interrupted if there's a change in our government. So how are you using these resources so the federal government can continue to consider DDOT for funding for its projects? Because you have a lot of potential with paratransit, expanding for bus rapid transit. I would like to see that on a couple of routes like Grand River. And yeah, what you guys are doing to communicate, hey, we're improving DDOT. We're on DDOT Reimagine. We're using your dollars as a good steward in this way to build more shelters as well too. And I just want to make sure that you are investing in the Rosa Parks Transit Center as well. I can speak more in detail in writing about that at a later time.
If I can answer one of the questions real quickly. Number one, we do share our key performance indicators. There was a ordinance passed by City Council, I believe about a year and a half ago. And we have a requirement to appear before Public Health and Safety each quarter to report out 8 key performance indicators. Getting ready to do that next week before Public Health and Safety, and we'll report out the Q4 for 2023. 8 key performance indicators, and the Q1 for 2024. We have shared that in the past, and currently the overall on-time performance of the system is about 70%. I should have mentioned one other thing. I was hoping that Brother Cunningham was on here earlier, but I did want to acknowledge that we do have 30 attendees at today's community input meeting, and a special thanks to representatives from President Pro Tem Tate's office and Councilmember Durhal's office.
And to answer your question, Mr. Staley, well, to answer your question, Renard, the ARPA dollars that we're spending, just to give you some of the highlights of what we are spending it on, bus stop shelters, we have 60 of them that are going up this year. We have slated to go up another 100 of them next year.
Oh, wow.
Bus operator incentives. We will be going into our 3rd year of bus operator incentives. It's a big portion of what we were spending the dollars on. Bus stop seating is one that we're working on right now. Transparently, that is something that we have coming up after the shelters. When it comes to end of the line and transit connection hub amenities, those are going up starting in the beginning of 2025 with design and engineering going on at the end of this year. And Rosa Parks transit enhancements, as well as public input that goes into that, is going to happen this summer. So we had the Jason Hargrove Transit Center that opened up, and we were able to switch our capabilities and bandwidth towards Rosa Parks.
Okay, just want to show some love towards the Rosa Parks Transit Center with some improvements there too. I know it's a lot going on down there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We understand that, our focus is going to be primarily on access. Second will be on energy efficiency, and third is going to be usability. So those are our big focuses.
Thank you, Renard. Robert, you're next.
Good afternoon. Can I be heard?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to all members of staff, members of the public, and the DDOT board. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Robert Plowski. I'm the vice chair for the Regional Transit Authority Citizens Advisory Committee, and I'm also a longtime transit activist. So I want to commend DDOT for all the amazing projects they've been doing in the last several months, including the Jason Hargrove Transit Center. It's been amazing to walk around the facility and see a great piece of history come to life, and just seeing riders get the use out of it. So especially as a suburban resident from Southgate like myself, I'm very proud of this transit center, and I'm looking forward to seeing it grow for years to come, and all of the amazing capital projects that DDOT has put forward. I want to make one suggestion to really incorporate this with the DDOT Reimagine plan, specifically with engagement and technology. I want to see more digital information kiosks, whether that's outside the transit center, like what's spotted around downtown Detroit, or even just little kiosks that have advertisements of recruitment for DDOT, campaign slogans, commercials for DDOT, and also meeting notices for community input meetings, local advisory council meetings, and also just basic service bulletins that are advertised on a small informational kiosk screen for all residents, and also riders within the Jason Hargrove Transit Center, including Rosa Parks, to have access on. It's a key accessibility point for all folks that and it is required with the ADA most of all. Just wanted to point that out there, but it's a key component for engagement with riders in this service. And I want to really bring that to the attention of all the staff for even forward projects or future projects with DDOT, maybe incorporating with the Imagine plan to really see where it goes from there in terms of future projects to come. And lastly, I want to also make note that I'd like to welcome the DDOT Transit Police team from the Detroit Police Department and welcome you aboard. And I would love to get in contact with you and share some of my ideas going forward as you transition into this role. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Robert.
I can, I can take a stab at the information kiosk. So I understand exactly what you're looking for. I think maybe that you would think at an airport or, maybe in a public setting, maybe at a museum or such. I will have to take that back to a larger committee to figure that one out. I understand that we do have capabilities of doing that, but to do something that is, I think, reflective of the I guess, reimagination of our system, I think that we will have to work on that. But it is a good suggestion. We will take that back. And we do understand that it should be at every one of our transit centers, not just at the newest one.
Thank you, Ricky. And I'd be happy to follow up with you on more details regarding that. And, it's more about the ADA accessible component for people to have accessibility when it comes to certain things, because just passing a paper schedule is not easy for everybody, especially when it comes to people that are physically impaired. So just trying to give more ideas and broad reach for that. And just to add on, is there a way, Iobami, could you pass my email and contact info to some of the DPD transit deployment team for them to reach out to me?
Robert, you could just put it in the chat and they will pick it up. I actually have been communicating with them as well.
Yeah, and if not, I definitely have it and can share.
I know we've been having tech issues, so I want to be clear of that. But thank you so much. I appreciate everybody's work, and to all the advocates, keep up the good work. We're all in this fight together.
Thank you, Robert. Fran Billingsley, you're next. Fran, are you able to make your comment?
Hello. I'm sorry, I was on another screen. Yes, how are you all? I made a comment a few months ago about entertaining a route on the Outer Drive Losser Street. There are coaches that leave Southfield, Schoolcraft Service Driving and travel down the Outer Drive Losser streets to get to 6 Mile or get to wherever they're going to start their routes. But the cross routes, there's only one on Evergreen, and then I don't even know if there's any coaches that go down Telegraph, but there's a long absence of cross route travel that need to be looked at, because the buses are going down that road anyway. So I think that bus access should be available on that route, on that street. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Patrick, can you respond to that?
Yeah, yeah, I believe there was a Losser crosstown at one time, and it had extremely low ridership, so it didn't stay. But as you mentioned, we have the Evergreen route, which has very good service, and it's going to get more frequent. And
But that's a long way for someone to walk to Evergreen.
But
if they live in that community, if they live in that area.
yeah, and Lasser also, we have, of course, pieces of Lasser between 8 and 7 mile, between 7 Mile and McNichols that have service. Further down, I think there's parts of Lasser that are not in the city limits. I'm not sure if that's true, but it's, going all the way up to Telegraph. We know that the city boundaries kind of dodge in and out. So I'm not sure how much of that is the city. I'd have to check that out. But is there any specific place on Lasser you're trying to travel to?
Well, there's a lot of houses that's in that area on Outer Drive to 6 Mile. And even if it's not that frequent, I think that there should be you should offer transportation for that community. Evergreen is a long way to travel, to walk to, or Schoolcraft to get to a cross area, Schoolcraft or McNichols in order to get to Evergreen. So the buses are coming through that way anyway. So just put a bus sign up there and pick the people up as they go along.
It does, I'm sorry, yeah, but it would take more than one bus to provide service there. And yeah, it's not as simple as that, but are there destinations that people are trying to get to at the other end of Lasser? I'm sorry, because if there's an east-west route that connects you into the network. So that's why I asked you if there's a place you're trying to go to. And you mentioned more houses. So typically people aren't going from one house to another house.
People in that neighborhood are trying to get to school, trying to get to work. They're trying to get to church. They're trying to get different places.
Yeah.
So, but they need to be picked up so they can get to these other areas.
Okay.
That's a long way to walk.
Yeah,
to Finkel or to 6 Mile.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had a
Thank you.
long outreach process and to tell you the truth, this is the first time I've heard this request, so we can look at it, but yeah, this is the very first time
I put it in the chat several times.
Yeah, we heard from you, that's what I mean, we heard it from you, but we haven't heard anyone else make that request.
I think they just gave up.
Ma'am, we're gonna have to, your time is up.
Thank you. Please look at it.
Ms. Fran, this is a Chief Safety Officer. If you could put your phone number in the chat, we'll follow up with you. I'll personally come out and look at the area and see what we can do for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Ms. Richella, excuse me. Ms. Richella, you're next.
Good evening, everyone. Director Staley, DDOT staff. I want to thank you for all the changes that's made. Grand River can be a little bit better now. Get it up to 15 minutes. That would be great. Like I said, I want to thank you for all the changes you made. I really want to get on same thing Pulaski was talking about. Maybe you could put some slide in on the buses, just letting them know. Like we had the flyers, it tells every date of every monthly DDOT meeting. You can slide it into some of those slots on the bus. So the people can look up there and see it's a meeting every month. You can attend this meeting and this is how you can attend it. It don't have to be digital. It can just be a slit right inside on the buses. Every coach has them for advertising. Slit them right down in there and people will see them. You can update them in that way. You don't have to do it digitally because a lot of people are not looking at screens at the different state centers. So if you could put them on the buses so everybody can see them. They're sitting around and looking around. They can see it sitting up there saying that meeting is on third Thursday of every month and give the dates, Zoom link, the phone in link. And maybe you'll get more people in on those meetings, but you could do your advertising that way because the people you're trying to hit is these central riders that's on the bus. That's who it's pertaining to, and that's where it should be, available for all of them to see when they enter that bus. Thank you. Hopefully you'll get started on it. Rosa Parks Transit Center is in bad need of being taken care of. Other than that, if you can get that information out on those buses about meetings, different ones, whatever's coming up, the changes, they can be done right there on the bus so people can see. And thank you for listening. Everybody stay safe. And maybe the DPP can get on the advocates meeting the third Tuesday of every month, and we can talk to the transit police. They can get to know us because at least they can see our faces on there, and they would know the advocates that they're dealing with, that they're talking to, instead of just a voice. They can put a face with that voice and know who we are. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Yeah, Ms. Rochella, can I respond? This is Chief Safety Officer with DDOT. You know, this was
Yes.
certainly something that Mr. Staley addressed today in our meeting. We are focused on it. So I could just let you know we are listening. And
Corey.
Yeah, if this is Staley, if I can follow up on Ms. Stewart's comment. So a while back, Mr. Cunningham had asked for the same thing about the placards. And marketing can correct me if I'm wrong, but those are on order and should be on the buses sooner rather than later.
Now, we've been asking for those for years. It's not just
yes, but we did.
Everybody
Ms. Rochella, please, you know, we talked about this the other day. I'm working on getting the person that I needed was not in, but they were ordered. So we're gonna try to track it down, but we are on it.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jamie, you're next. Jamie, are you able to make your comment?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank DDOT staff and leadership for all of the progress that you guys have made so far, and for the attention that you paid to the ADA community. I do have one major concern that I'd like to address in terms of the new police force. I would like to know what is being done to ensure cultural competency in terms of individuals with disabilities and ADA concerns. I know that the transit police under Chief Brown were well familiar with a lot of the frequent riders and the different issues that would come about. So I was wondering what the new chief and leadership of the DPT was going to do to get to know the community and enhance their cultural competency. Thank you.
Deputy Chief Williams, I can respond to that. So the great thing is that the Detroit Police Department is already part of the community. So we are very well aware of the cultural diversity that we have, and we are very aware of those individuals who will be part of that DDOT ridership who are under the protection of the ADA and have various disabilities. So we constantly give our officers cultural diversity training, and they receive sustainment training, meaning that every year they get a 24 to 40 hour block of training, which includes cultural diversity. So we'll be having some meetings where we'll be reaching out and talking with the community and getting feedback on how well we're doing as we take over the job that Transit PD had. But we will be 100% responsive, and we will be working as hard as we can to maintain that level of connection that we have with the community right now with the same ridership of DDOT.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Jamie. Amy, you're next.
Hi, can I be the next person? I'm sorry, just to be a moment.
Come back to you mean?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
can do that. Brandon, yours is the next hand up.
All right, hello, can I be heard?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Brandon Whitfield, one of the community liaisons for President Pro Tem James Tate, District 1 Representative. One of the things that I wanted to get someone to discuss or talk about was we had a number of inquiries over the last year and a half about bus stops being outside of residential homes, particularly by side doors. And a number of residents have discussed safety concerns, possibly. So, in the event that a resident would like to get a bus stop removed from their home, although the bus stops are on the city burn, could someone explain the process of what it will take, or if that's even possible? My second question is, out of the bus shelters, I know it was reported that 60 will be delivered this year and 100 will be implemented next year. Could it be more thoroughly explained of the variations, what that would be for the individual districts around the city? If that's possible at this time, that's all I have.
This is Staley. Thank you, Mr. Woodfield. Ms. Davis, Stephanie Davis, do you mind explaining what our intake process is as it relates to bus stops, location, changing locations, and the like?
Okay, yes. Good evening. Bus stop considerations are there is a service standard via our Title VI program, and so that there's a point system by which bus stops are evaluated. And so when a bus stop meets a particular threshold, that is how they are placed. Generally, and
That's for
Mr.
placing shelters. Yeah, you're describing the shelter.
And Mr. Patrick, let Ms. Davis continue, please.
Thank you. And that's exactly what I was going to say. So when bus stops or bus shelters are placed, they are placed within a certain footage, so from stop to stop, so that the extension, so that people getting from stop to stop is within. I have to defer to Mr. Patrick on the yardage. So when we get the request to have a bus stop moved or relocated, we take those criteria in which they were placed into consideration on how that is considered. So we if in fact, and so I don't want to overspeak or misrepresent the process, but the stop is then evaluated against those service standards by which they were placed to determine if it is feasible to move within our system.
So if I can address the what I think was the intake question for Mr. Whitfield. So essentially, and Ms. Davis can put her email address into the chat, but the way we've been handling requests for bus stops, either can you consider placing a bus stop in a certain location? Would you consider moving it, relocating it for whatever reason? Ms. Davis serves as the intake person, and then as she described, it goes to Mr. Patrick's division to look at it, to evaluate it, and then we will send back out a determination after we do a review. As it relates to the 60 bus stop shelters for calendar year 24, and then the 100 for calendar year 25, Mr. Yamakura can provide that information to Ms. Davis, and then Mr. Whitfield will get that information back out to you. We had done a presentation as part of our budget hearing before City Council with some information on the shelters, but we can provide you with updated information on the 60, and then some prospective information on the 100 for calendar year 2025.
Thank you, Brandon. Amy, are you ready?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm from Wayne State. My specialty is urban planning and transportation, mainly focused on traffic congestion. I have been living in the west side of Midwest area in Detroit for over 7 years. I drive mainly route is on 94, I-94 and Warren. But recently I have been checking why there's a extraordinary congestion on I-94 for more than 2 hours longer than the other highway. And then is there any design issue on the local road or land use issue? Then I noticed that the Warren actually has some design problem on the east side. So if you drive from west to Warren and then and go through up past the Wayne State campus and passing the I-97, I-75 southbound, and then shortly you will not able to drive to the east side on Warren. It could be have to reroute it to the forest, and forest is been designed for one way with 4 lanes, and lots of cars being over speed. And I checked the land use. Warren supposed to be a best corridor for commercial use. Only this section from the Wayne State to nearly Chrysler assembly factory and the Chandler Park area. This area was very barely developed because the one way very likely, and also the highway lanes is become bottleneck because only 3 lanes is supplying within almost 5 miles. You cannot find any other local road can drive all the way from west side to the east side at all, because on the east side you will find a lot of blocks have been redesigned and is not able to drive through. So I would like to some of the specialty engineers to take a look about this route. Hopefully can change this route to be 2-way instead of 1-way, because there's no necessary for excessive traffic volume beyond the midtown. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I believe we are the Detroit Department of Transportation, but we only run the bus system. So I think you want to talk to Detroit Public Works and Traffic Engineering about this issue. We only, yeah.
So the bus route also is affected on this side. So the bus route actually cannot go from West Warren to the East Warren. It goes to Forest as well.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it will have to be combined with both departments, I think.
Yeah, we follow the streets that we're given. We follow the network that's there, but we do not control the street network.
Is there a way that you can easier to communicate with them, because you guys all work on Detroit development all the time, not like us?
So you want to contact in Public Works?
And that is time. Can we put that in the chat?
Yeah, could you put your contact info in the chat?
Okay.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Richard, you're next.
Okay, may I be heard?
Yes, go right ahead.
Well, I'd like to thank DDOT, the great job they've done. We met with you. I am the president of the Western Corktown Association, vice president for the Corktown Shuttle. What I wanted to talk about is to introduce people into what's called last mile transportation. And the Corktown Shuttle was a non-for-profit we made to try to get funding. We have a $1.2 million grant pending to move people around. We've been to Corktown, you could see all the parking issues are going on. The shuttle would be moving people around Corktown to different parking areas. There would be an app to see where it is, what's coming, and where you are parked. I think it's something that the city needs to look into, because other cities around the country are now utilizing it. It's a cheap mode of transportation. These carts, and the cool little carts, cost 1/20th of what a city bus costs. So it's very cost effective. And I've heard a few people here where it might make sense to use it, where people need to be moved around for certain times in certain areas. these carts could be brought in a small area. And what it says, it's last mile transportation. And that's exactly what it would do. So it could help enhance things. You saw them at the NFL draft where they were moving them around these little shuttles. They could be used in different areas. So I think it's something that the city might want to go ahead and have an organization to look into this and have a committee. We really would help with it. I've been working on this the last 4 years. And if DDOT, please send us the comments back about our meeting. We're looking about if you're going to work with us or not. This grant might come through in the next few days. And I want to say that DDOT would partner with us to develop this new, innovative, great new mode of transportation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Angela's iPhone is next. Angela's iPhone. Okay. And then the next hand up after that is a number ending in 114. Number ending in 114. Okay, Angela's iPhone, I see you unmuted. Can you make your comment?
Hi, sorry about that. My name is Angela Bakley. I'm a longtime Detroit resident. I am on the Woodward route, and I just had a couple questions since I started back using the bus. The first question is, I have a disabled son. He's 9. He has autism. And I was trying to find out, do he have to pay regular fare like an adult like I have to pay, or could he pay that like for a child? Or would I have to get like a special ID for him? And if so, where would I go about doing that? Because I haven't been taking the bus in so long, I don't know where it is. Second part of my question is about the bus stops. And all the bus stops that I use, is no place to stand. If it rains or anything like that, is nowhere for us, me and my son, to get out of the elements. So I was just trying to figure out, this question might have been asked. I just want to see what are y'all going to do about that, and because if it rains, snow, anything, myself, anyone, senior citizens could be out there in the elements like that. Thank you.
Is there anybody that can address the fare issue?
Yep, I can address it. Angela, do you have access to the chat? Because I can send you the link to the application for your son.
Yes.
Okay.
How old did you say he was? I'm sorry, how old did you say he was?
He is 9. He just turned 9.
Oh,
but
elementary school doesn't need an ID. Yeah, they just pay a discount fare. Only high school kids need IDs.
Because every time I've been getting on the bus, since I've been had to take the bus, they've been making me pay full fare for him.
No.
Yes.
You're 9-year-old.
Yes. Yep.
No, if they're in elementary school, they shouldn't be paying full fare.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I thought so.
I think Ms. Hood's gonna provide the link so we can make sure that
yeah,
that happens the way it should happen.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you.
Just to answer real quick, we hear you loud and clear about the shelters. It's definitely a focus that we've had from the onset. Public comment has always been around making sure that we have shelter for our folks that are waiting. And I know that Mr. Staley stands strongly behind making sure that we are focused on getting more shelters out, as well as improving the current quality of the shelters that we have. And we do have an additional program when it comes to trying to find seating if we don't have shelters. We are looking at that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And is the number ending in 114 available to comment?
This is Brother Cunningham, 313-444-9114. Brother Cunningham, 313-444-9114. And on Facebook, Retroactive Fairness. So thanks everyone for asking about the information for the input meetings. They should be at Rosa Parks Transit Center. I'm standing right now at the Hargrove Transit Center, and I see nothing here talking about the input meeting. They should be at the bus stops. They should be at the libraries where they get off the schedules. Right, many flyers. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do them at the libraries and etc. But it just, the people need to know that there's an input available, because a lot of people that I handed to had no idea that that capability to attend a meeting and express themselves was possible. And this is something I see from east to west, north to south, every single day. Grassroots, grassroots, grassroots. And I took it as DDOT just doesn't want new people to show up at the meetings. And I took it very sinister, like it was a sinister move. But I do see Ms. Ayobami and the staff trying to get those placards on the buses. But I'll believe it when I see it. And but I do thank DDOT for doing all the improvements that they have done. It's hard work for a small staff. I appreciate the responsiveness of Ms. Ayobami when I call her or text. And the same thing for Mr. Staley. Sir, I really thank you. And I'm going to miss Chief Brown. He has a couple more weeks. You already answered 70% on-time ratio. That's up by 5%. I'm applauding. I'm giving a standing ovation. That means we're going in the right direction. And as humbly as I know how, I always pray for everyone involved, the activists, the staff, council, the mayor's office, in regards to our Detroit Department of Transportation. And I also have activism when it comes to SMART as well. But
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Time's up. But we definitely appreciate all your shout outs. And we are working on it, so hopefully we'll be seeing it soon.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Is the phone number ending in 299? Phone number ending 299? Okay, the next hand up is Mike Torriero. Whoever can unmute first to make their comment.
Hello?
Yep, go right ahead.
Hi, how you doing? I ride the 9 bus over on Jefferson, every single day. And I think that everybody in the city of Detroit is amazing. I think that the drivers are amazing. But there's been a ton of issues as far as what a schedule is, how people are supposed to find out when the bus is coming. I go to your link tree on DDOT. I type in my schedule, it gives me a time, and your buses just never seem to run based on the schedule. And then when I call the number to ask about what's going on, they tell me that I have to track the buses live. So I guess I'm just real confused, and I'm sure other people are too, that if you're why are we setting a schedule if you're just going to arbitrarily not send the buses when the times are, and that we have to live track the buses and just track them like that? Further, I don't know what goes on at dispatch or what goes on, but there's probably no less than half a dozen times that I've been on the 9 bus, and you have 2 number 9 buses running bumper to bumper down Jefferson Avenue. Last week, I went to get picked up. Your bus didn't come. It should take about 15 minutes to get downtown. Because your bus didn't come, it backed everything up, and my 15-minute travel time goes to 30 minutes. And so this is very, very inconvenient for people who are working in the city and relying on transportation, that it just seems like there shouldn't be 2 buses that are ever bumper to bumper running back and forth on any route. And you guys should work towards setting a schedule and sticking to it. Otherwise, we're just arbitrarily just throwing bus times out whenever we want, and that's never going to work if this city is going to be successful. And that's it, I guess. You know, I don't want to be the guy who calls and complains all the time, but the infrastructure in the city, the people are waiting.
It's
we're
noted.
trying.
It's noted. Thank you. That is time. So would you get your gist?
Did you want me to respond to that?
No, that's good, Mr. Patrick. Thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Is this 299?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead with your comment.
Yes. I was introduced to you by Cunningham.
Okay, go ahead with your comment.
Yes, my name is Dee, and I think it's a good thing. I'm kind of calling from the Jason Hargrove Transit, and I'm really appreciative. I know that the buses don't get honored at certain times or enough, but I'm real grateful for the transit here. I think it's a nice thing, and fire most of all. I think it's grand that you have this program that's Zoom, because you're not always able to get to the meetings. So that's another thing that's great. But what I wanted to reflect on is how can you, like, I have a friend that's AD as well as myself, and she has problems a lot. You probably heard of her yourself. She's a young lady with no legs, and that passes her up a lot. And I would like for the meetings to be in person as well. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we're here.
Yes, ma'am, we were giving you opportunity. Were you done?
Yes, ma'am.
We were going to respond. They may respond afterwards. Okay, thank you.
Is anybody available to?
Otherwise, we would just urge you to call
Okay.
customer service when these happen, and then
Hello,
933
yes, I'd like for the meetings to be in
1300.
person.
Please have them call. Please have them call. Okay. I'm sorry. Please have them call customer service, and they will investigate.
I think
And just asking from a historic.
Meetings in person, because some people don't have phones, and I think it's a great thing that they are doing it with phones, vice versa. But is it possible that they're going to continue the meetings in person as well as Zoom? Zoom is grand.
And I was just this is Staley, I was just gonna ask anybody that's been here for a period of time, historically speaking, have these community input meetings ever been held in person? I know the numbers are.
Yes, sir.
They were.
Okay.
At Rosa Parks Transit Center, and at that time, we switched over to Zoom. After COVID,
I'm assuming during
but like I
COVID,
said,
yeah.
now,
So that's certainly
Yeah.
something we can talk about.
Great, thank you. Stephen Boyle, your hand is the next up.
Hi, I'm on a Franklin bus right now. The screen that's on this bus is not showing a reading right now. It's just a sign on it. So it would be great to see our screen be able to show people what these things are happening.
I'm sorry, we're having a little trouble
The
hearing you.
response, yeah, I know it's kind of busy right now. I'm getting off the bus right now. Do you have another person?
Do you want us to come back? Let's come back to you.
Thank you.
Phone number, excuse me, BLUG33. I presume that's a phone. BLUG33, if you're available to make your comment. And if not, Lucas, your hand is also up. Whoever can unmute first.
Hi there, Kristen. Can I be heard?
Yes, go ahead, Lucas.
Okay, thank you for having me again. There are a couple of things I'd like to address. For one, I'd like to thank Mr. Yamker for his very quick response to my email this morning. Much appreciated. But the first question I'd like to ask is, you've discussed added peak hour trips or added supplemental trips during the presentation today. What do those look like? Because I'm not sure if that just means, oh, we're going to throw in extra buses on Evergreen when needed, or if that's actually being added to the schedule. The wording is very vague, and I've never really been clear on what that exactly means from an operational standpoint or for its impact on the riders.
Okay.
And the other,
Yeah,
yeah,
go
Mr.
ahead. You finish up. Yeah, finish up here. No, actually.
Okay, and the other thing I'd like to address is to echo Brother Cunningham's concern that there needs to be a lot more promotion for the community input meetings, because this is a great opportunity you provide the riders. It's just not enough people know about this. And if placards could be added or more promotion on social media, because there's pretty much radio silence where there should be a lot of promotion that this opportunity exists. So I really would appreciate and would be interested in working in my capacity at True with you to promote this to your rider base, to make sure that people know they have the opportunity to voice their concerns. That's all I've got.
So the difference between a supplemental trip and so we have on our routes, we operate at certain frequencies. Some routes have a peak frequency, some have a midday frequency, some have the same frequency all day long. So when we introduce a frequency improvement, that means that we're improving the frequency for at least several hours during a peak period or a base period, or a weekend or a nighttime or anything like that, but it's a frequency that lasts over a number of hours. Where we introduce a supplemental trip, that's a trip that's aimed at a specific time. It might be when a certain school gets out, or when a certain school goes into session, or when there's an overcrowded trip that carries a lot of people that we're trying to provide relief to. So it really depends on the situation, but we try to match the supplemental trips to when there is extra demand for service.
So a supplemental trip is just a one-off trip that's added into the schedule at like one or two specific times.
Yeah, it might be, usually if we have one in the morning, we try to put one in the afternoon. And yeah, you're right, it might be a one-way trip or it might be a round trip, but it's at a specific time for a specific time where we expect heavier ridership.
Oh, Mr. Patrick, I imagine that's probably not easy to bake in from a scheduling perspective, so I commend you for doing that, but I'm wondering, are those reflected in the posted schedules, either in GTFS or paper schedules?
Yes, they are scheduled service.
Okay, because I have not yet seen any of those, like you mentioned during the January pick that those are being added to Evergreen, and I haven't noticed any of those added to the posted schedule on Evergreen, for example.
No, for
Excuse me, Mr. Patrick, can I, Steve, can I interrupt? Since we already passed, can you add that to the chat or contact them? Because I believe we have the information since we are past time, and I think we have at least two more.
Yeah.
Mr. Patrick, I've got your email. I can reach back out to you to follow up.
That'd be
All right,
great.
thank you.
Thank you for understanding. BLUG33, are you able to make your comment? I can see that you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Can I be heard?
Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Jalen Kemp. I'm a single father of two girls. I go to work every day, and I just want to talk about how the buses, they kind of slow. They don't run on time, and I catch the bus to work every day. So that's all I really got to say is about the buses and stuff. Is can they be on time a little bit more? And yeah, that's about it.
Chief Safety Officer with DDOT, Corey, can you give us a route number, sir, or a date and time so we can start tracking some of this?
The 6 mile bus, the Livernois bus, and most of the times, I think sometimes it'd be the Woodward bus don't have no schedule where we can see what time the bus come, but as far as that.
But when you say slow, do you mean that it travels slow when you're sitting on the bus, or do you mean that it's slow to get to you when you're waiting for the bus?
Yeah, waiting for the bus.
Oh, okay. So that's not a slow bus. That's a bus that's running behind schedule. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are many things that could slow down the bus along its route. Could be wheelchairs, could be lots of passengers getting on and paying their fare, could be disabled people getting on and who are slow to get on the bus. Yeah, there are, and it could be traffic.
Great, thank you. And then Stephen, if you, oh, go ahead.
Yep, I'm here. Hi.
If you could take us home.
Yeah. So one thing that I heard Brian Whitfield from James Tate's office was requesting removal of stops. As a person that's literally had to walk from like Livernois over to the Northwest Activity Center, the availability of stops at a regular interval is very helpful in walking and then hoping that the bus shows up. So if I was walking and I had this feeling like, okay, every 2 or every 3 blocks, there's going to be a bus stop. And then somebody removes a bus stop. Now I got to go 5 or 6 blocks to try to get to a bus stop. And I should probably just double back to one that's maybe I've already passed, or, you know, it gets confusing when the regularity between stops is interrupted. And we also suffer the possibility of communities basically mobilizing against having bus stops. Like, you know, there along Curtis, I know that the bus stops are right next to people's back doors. So imagine if that whole stretch had no bus stops unless you were at a major intersection. People would have to just walk, you know, huge distances in order to be able to get to the bus. So we need to have people that purchase property that has a bus stop realize I'm purchasing this, and you can't really NIMBY out of it. You can't do the not in my backyard. I mean, it's literally it's in part of service, and maybe there could be a tax credit or something to people that have a bus stop next to them if they show good citizenship and assist people that are trying to catch public transit in their area. You know, some ideas. Thank you.
Hey, marketing, this is Staley. Let's make sure that on the next community input meeting, we've got some presentations on bus stops and bus shelters. There was a lot of questions tonight, and I think it would be good, even if we've done it in the past, to just kind of revisit any number of aspects of why we place bus stops, where we place bus stops, how we determine if a bus stop deserves a shelter, so on and so forth. So if we can do that in the July meeting, I think that would be very helpful.
Sure.
No, noted. And Mr. Staley, that was our last caller, correct, Kristen?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right, let's let Mr. Staley close us on out.
Just once again, appreciate everybody's time and comments. Ms. Torrance, way to make it through the technical difficulties. So again, please continue not only at the community input meetings, but also in the times in between. Share your concerns, comments, commendations, criticisms, and the like. All of that information we take seriously, and those things that we can act upon, we try to do so in an expeditious manner. So again, thank you very much. And because I'm not going to have the opportunity to do this again publicly, Chief Brown, what can I say? Thank you so much.
If I may, sir, I just want to thank you personally, as well as the writing public. Like was stated earlier, we really tried to bond with everyone to solve whatever issues we had to solve. And it was a pleasure, honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
We appreciate your professionalism, and we appreciate the fact that you're as decent of a human being as you are. Thank you so much. That's all I have, Ms. Torrance.
I think that's it for the meeting tonight then. And then our next meeting is, I believe it's July 18th.
That is correct. I can find the button fast enough. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.